ProbStats kids, this is Dr. Callahan with week 6 Wednesday. Sorry, I forgot what day it was. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following questions for your warm-up log. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and create the assignment for your class for week 6 Wednesday. I also updated your grades, so just keep in mind that, on the hyper days, make sure you guys are checking in with me because that is critically important, especially to ensure that you are receiving the other 50% of your grade. And if you're just showing up in person, that's awesome. But if you are not checking in with me, your other grades will be negatively impacted as a result of that. So just bear that in mind. So this is week 6, Thursday. Your instruction is to make sure you guys watch the video in its entirety, view the assignment, do the necessary textbook assignment from the Google Doc itself. And today our topic of discussion is you have a brand new packet. We're done with chapter 7. So if you are not a big fan and know an alternative hypothesis, well, guess what? We won't be talking about it anymore until the final. So we're going to move on to correlation, which is Unit 9. And so we're going to be talking about that instead. And that's kind of where our focus is going to be on for this unit. So this is Prob and Stats, semester 2. And it is going to be on using equation to calculate correlation. All right, make sure you guys check in with me before the end of your class for Wednesday. And in this case, your Wednesday class ends at for fifth period, you guys end at 12:49. And then for sixth period, you guys end at 1:44. So you have to go ahead and check in with me before then because that's when that's when I take attendance. So if you do it afterwards, you might be marked absent, but I'll be more than happy to change your attendance if you just send me an email. Okay, let's go ahead and assign that. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get going. This is the breakdown of and actually before I do that, I'm going to show you guys the textbook work from yesterday. So this was a textbook that you should have, so make sure you have this in your homework template. Here is the second part to that. Oops. Here is the third page of that. All right, so this is a breakdown of what we're going to be talking about today. So take a look at what you should be working on. And let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you have not watched the video last time, you're kind of already a little bit behind. This was the first 2 pages of your guided notes on chapter 9. So pause the video and answer the following questions, or at least have this in there. Do the same thing with example 1 to make sure you understand the differences between dependent variable and independent variable. One is for X, the other one's for Y. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started today. So go ahead and read this part right here. To display the relationship between 2 quantities, variables such as a scatter plot, put the explanatory variable on the x-axis, which is the x value, and put the response variable on the y-axis, and that is the y value. If the relationship cannot be determined, you may choose which variable goes where. Okay, so let's go ahead and help each other out by creating a scatter plot for example 2. This is kind of taking you guys back to algebra 1. So remember, your x value usually is always on the x-axis, and this going up and down is generally the y-axis. Okay, so you have an x and y value, and let's go ahead and plot this thing. So when x is 1, y is 4, so 1, 4. So go over to the right one, up 1, 2, 3, 4. When x is 2, y is 5, so your second point is 2, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When x is going to be 3, y is 7. So your next point is 3, 7. Remember, x is 3, y is 7. So 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on top. When x is 7, y is 10. So you have 7, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so as you look at this right here, what kind of pattern do you see? What kind of correlation as and what kind of relationship is there? If I were to go ahead and draw a line close to the points, I can see that this is a pretty strong positive correlation. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the types of correlation. You might want to copy this part down. First one is as x increases, if you look at this picture here, the y also goes up. Do you see how when this x is right here, y is here, but as x moves over to the right, y also goes up. And if it's an increase with both, it is a positive linear correlation. On the other hand, as x increases and y tend to decrease, go ahead and draw me a picture of how that would work. It will be a negative correlation because if you think about it, as x tends to increase, y is going to get smaller. So your dots will look something like this. And when you go ahead and draw the pattern of a line, it's a negative. If you have a one that looks like this, the pattern between x and y does not look like a straight line. So therefore, it is called a nonlinear correlation. Take a look at the last one. When there is no correlation between the x and y, it is called no correlation. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the correlation coefficients of R. So R will not change if we switch x and y. Both variables must be quantitative, well, duh. Has to be between -1 and +1. And if R equals 1 or R equals -1, the relation is a perfect linear. And the value of R means that there is absolutely no linear relationship. Correlation coefficient R only measures the strength and the linear relationship of a line. So in summary, make sure you have these three things down and copied. So pause the video. All right, let's match this. Pause the video and go ahead and match them. These numbers should be correlating to one of these here. Now take a look at your answer. All right, so this is a crazy equation that we're going to be using to find R, and I know it looks absolutely heinous, but you know what? We're going to get through it, I promise. So on your paper, go ahead and draw this little chart. Okay, step one, we're going to go ahead and find the sum of the EX column, okay? So here is the first step. Step one, EX, because this is the X. E stands for sum, so you're looking for the sum of X's. So grab your calculator, add everything out here. What is the total of this column? I don't know about you, but I got 88. And you guessed that, step two, find the sum of the Y column. So here is Y. So the sum of the Y, so add everything up here together. I got 56.7. Step number three, next column in the yellow is going to be the X squared column. So what that means is you're going to take a 1 times a 1, which is a 1, 10 times a 10, which is 100, 5 times a 5, which is 25, and keep doing that for the rest of the entire column. So 15 times 15, 3 times 3, 24 times 24. You probably have to use a calculator for 24 times 24, which gives you 576. 30 times 30, 900. And yeah, you guessed that, step 4, you're going to have to do the same thing over here for the y column, because that's going to be y squared, which is y times y. So this one you probably definitely have to use a calculator, because 12.5 times 12.5, I don't know if you could do this in your head, I can't. 156.25. Do the same thing with 8.7 times 8.7, which is 75.69. Pause the video, and I want you guys to go ahead and finish the rest of them. $213.04, 27.04, 98.01, 9.61, 7.24. All right, step 5, fifth column, which is this right here, you're going to do x times y. So what is 1 times 12.5? What is 10 times 8.7? Go ahead and fill out the rest of this. Pause the video. Step 6, find the sum of the x squared. Yeah, you guessed it. So here, you're going to have to add everything in this column. Step 7, find the sum of y squared. And step 8, find the sum of x times y. So pause the video and add all the numbers in those columns up, please. All right, so for the first one, I got 1,886, 587 and 05, 435.6. Okay, now that we fill out this chart, we're now going to move on to this colorful equation, even though it might be very, very difficult, but I think you guys are able to do it, I promise you. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So first things first, R is equal to N. N is how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we establish N equals 7, okay? So 7 times sum of EXY, where is that? Right here. So 435.6 minus sum of X. If you look over here, sum of X, which is 88. Sum of Y is 56.7 divided by the square root of N, which is 7, EX squared, 1836, minus EX squared. So EX is 88. So square it times the square root of N, which is 7, times EY squared, 56.7, minus, oh, you know what? I just totally screwed this up. EY squared is in the wrong one. That's not 56 point. See, and that's good to make that mistake because now you know that you got to be very careful about which one you use. So this one's not it. Let me erase that. This one is going to be 587.05 minus EY with the square. So there's a difference when they use this one here. 56.7 squared. All right, so just be careful with that, you guys. I know it's kind of, you know, a little bit weird. Okay, R is equal to, well, let's clean this up. What's 7 times that? Minus 88 times 56.7. You got to be careful when you're doing math over here. Okay, so on the bottom, I'm going to be very careful. Let's go ahead and just move everything and focus everything into the first square root. 8 times 1836. 88 times 88. Then we're going to take a look at the second square root. 7 times 587.05. And what's 56.7 times 56.7? Okay, at this point, what I would like you guys to do, and you're going to do this on your own, is go ahead and subtract them. Get that number right there. Subtract them. Get that number in here. And then square root them and multiply them together. And then finally divide them, and that should be your answer, which is your R, which is between -1 to +1. All right, you guys, when you're done with that, next step that I want you guys to focus on is going to be the following. Okay? You have a tiny little quiz you have to take, which is what is your learning style? It's just 20 questions. Make sure you go on to this link and then provide me a summary of the results. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. As always, stay safe and healthy and take care.